Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Stock Market Today. Allie Corman, Ed Carson here to break down the action in today's session, where it was another day of a decent open and a weak close, at least for the NASDAQ, becoming quite a pattern here, Ed. And you are still on mute.
Sir, I'm still on mute. We're going to try to close strong. Not having a lot of luck, but we're going to take a look at a few stocks that did do well today. Deckers Outdoor, Microsoft, and AMD.
Yeah, bucking the weakness, those three stocks. We will get to them first. Let's check on the action here as the NASDAQ closing down today pretty significantly in the market, below its 21-day moving average after coming off of lows in yesterday's session to find support there. But today's loss about 0.5%. We had the S&P 500 down 0.6%, the Dow losing 0.8, and the Russell 2000 down 1.4%. So more weakness here today, Ed. What do you think will come as we get the rest of the week?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Right now, we're to a certain extent, you could say, well, this is somewhat normal. I mean, there's been some higher volume selling on a couple of these days. The week closes are not positive. That is definitely a negative sign. That's a hallmark of bearish type markets, not healthy markets. So that's not good. Maybe we rebound. I mean, we could rebound around these levels, the 21-day or the 50-day line. When you call up the S&P, that's been even more of a commonplace for it to hold the 21-day, except every once in a while it just sort of pops down to the 50-day line and then rebounds. Now, will we do it? We certainly could, but then again, we could also break it. I mean, just because we have done it, you don't necessarily want to cheat on it. And this is also why we talked about being more defensive about a week ago, because it just sort of felt like that maybe we were just in the, ready for sort of sideways action or pullback. So if you bought recently, in most cases, those stocks are down. And that's just, I mean, some will be up, of course, but most will be down. If you own longer term, you're probably in better shape. But it's, just I think you want to wait and see if we rebound from these key levels.
Yep. As you're right, we talked about in recent weeks, reducing exposure. We could see a reversal and maybe some buying opportunities with investors getting shaken out or scaling out over the last week or so. But you're right, you don't want to anticipate that to where you could get burned, but we will be prepared for that scenario. And also taking a look at small caps, a weakness here today with it now back below the 50-day.
Yeah, it's getting sort of decisively below that after, might have closed below it on Friday. But today it's below the 50-day line. It's going back to the 200-day line where it's found support a couple of times. It's obviously a little higher now, but, that's definitely one to watch market breadth. And it's just showing you some weakness beyond, because growth has actually done reasonably okay in the tech Titan. So the NASDAQ looks a little better than some other things. There's definitely some weakness in this market.
Yeah, and we talked yesterday about FFTY, which tracks the IBD 50, a signal of growth stocks coming under pressure in a big way. A little bit of a relief from that today, it looks like, but it's still early in the week. We still have 3 sessions to go. But what also was definitely not showing weakness today, and that is Deckers Outdoor, ticker DECK, up over 4%. We had some nice volume behind the move and move above a trend line that made this stock actionable today.
Yeah, you could use the trend line. You could use the bounce off the 50-day line, which has sort of been doing the last couple of days. Nice action here. The relative strength line is near a high. On the fundamental side, sales growth has been accelerating. Earnings look really strong. A lot of positives there. It's in a flat base, so this could have been an early entry to say in that. The RS line is at a new high on a weekly chart. It got a boost off of Crocs, which surged on positive sales outlook and what have you. That one wasn't really actionable, or if it was by the time anybody saw it pop like that, it was too late, kind of issue. But, there's been a few specialty names that are doing well in here. Deckers is definitely one of them. So, that's definitely one to be watching on there.
It is, and a nice strong close there as well, high in the range. And now let's take a look at MSFT, Microsoft. You mentioned the big mega cap tech stocks holding strong. So Microsoft among them with a gain of 1% today. In yesterday's session, came down below its 21-day line, undercutting its prior day's action, but was able to reverse higher and now continuing higher today. So it's continuing to trade tightly at highs here and not looking like a lot of growth stocks that are now starting to maybe roll over and undercut their 50-day moving averages.
Yeah, Microsoft has looked great for months, and its RS line is pretty close to the highs. On a weekly chart, it almost had a 3 weeks tight a couple weeks ago. There was a week where it dropped 1.52%, which is just beyond the 1.5 level. So you could probably think of the all-time high as basically, do that plus 10 cents as a buy point. You could use a 10-week line bounce because it's bounced off the 10-week line this week. So the 21-day and the 10-week are sort of lining up. There's those things around there that it could easily flash a buy signal. I think right now in this kind of a market environment, it pops up in the open. You may not really want to be jumping on board, adding exposure, especially if at the open because of the way the market's been acting. But this one is acting very well, finding support exactly where you'd like it to. Maybe this will be a flat base in a week and a half. I mean, that's a long way away, but it's acting very well.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, with it being a long-term leader, we like buying those long-term leaders around their 50-day lines or 10-week lines. Microsoft just 2% above the 10-week. But other long-term leaders like IDXX, which flashed a buy signal with a rebound off of the 10-week line recently, that's not working out. And Pool, let's just check in on that one as well. Yeah, it is now below its 10-week line. So just because you see a long-term leader bouncing off of the 10-week line doesn't necessarily mean it's going to work. But Microsoft is the leader among long-term leaders. So we'll have to see. And AMD is another stock worthy of our attention today, Ed. Up a little bit for the week, and flipping on over to the daily chart, we can see a gain of about 0.9% after the stock came down close to its 50-day line in Monday's session and bouncing higher today.
Yeah, it bounced off of there. I bounced off the 10-week line. If it got a little stronger, there might be some kind of trend line break as well. It's not that surprising that it pulled back like it did after running up really strongly over a couple of weeks. So that was not too surprising. Now, if it can get move higher again, that would be nice. Right now, it seems a little early, even though it is bouncing off the 50-day, 10-week line area. Again, given the market, and it does seem to be, you'd want to do a little more strength to see there, but definitely one to be watching.
And Ed, since it is MarketSmith free access week, what would you say is your favorite or most used feature of MarketSmith when you are doing your screening every day as IBD's news editor, but also someone who's actively managing their own portfolio?
Well, I do go through a lot of screens on the weekend, but what's something is just great. I'll go to that open stock ideas button. And there's, there'll be, what's breaking out today? I'll be interested. This is for me as an investor, and also news. I want to find out what's near a pivot, some of those things to be looking at what's going on. And that's going to be just very useful just to spot what's moving and potentially actionable. And then also just the alerts. I can draw alerts, and, then I can set it, this is close to breaking out. I'll draw a trend line, and then I will set it. And so then it'll pop up if I forget to go looking at it. Yeah. So if AMD goes through there, then you'll get that alert, and, you can make a decision, maybe even draw it a little before, say, where you'd want to buy it, just so you can, okay. And I just find those very useful on a newsy event. There's so much in there, but I just think that feature really is really useful.
Some good highlights. So if you want to check out MarketSmith for yourself, make sure you check out investors.com/MS free access so you can get your hands on these great research tools. And we will be chatting more about MarketSmith, of course, tomorrow morning on IBD Live, because when we're sharing our screens, we are using MarketSmith charts. So looking forward to another great show with the team tomorrow morning. So make sure you join us at investors.com/IBD Live. Thanks so much, Ed. And thanks to you all out there. We'll see you back here tomorrow.